My next guest says Comey's testimony doesn't make the case for impeachment or obstruction against President Trump. Joining me now, attorney, professor of law at George Washington University, Jonathan Turley. Professor, great to have you with us. I thought that was an interesting exchange, the idea of going to jail for hoping for an outcome. Do you concur with the senator's assessment, and ultimately the FBI director, former FBI director, agreed?
I do. I know of no case ever where someone was prosecuted on facts like these. Obstruction is a crime. It has elements, and the elements aren't present here. Among other things, obstruction is usually based on corruptly influencing a pending proceeding. Neither of those elements are present. If you want to see what obstruction of justice is in the impeachment arena, look at Article 1 against Nixon. He was charged with obstruction, and what followed that charge were 9 items detailing each their own crimes. I mean, it's an extensive criminal pattern, from a break-in to Watergate to slush funds to procuring false testimony. When you put those
so there were
side
real
by side,
crimes in Watergate.
Right. Yeah, and when you put them side by side, this becomes rather laughable. Now, it doesn't mean that there might not be more evidence disclosed later, but people who are suggesting that this is a prima facie case of obstruction are really quite fanciful.
When you hear some of the left-wing national media, and I know that you would not sully your ears by listening too much to them, I mean, they're hysterical. They're talking about obstruction of justice as if the president has no constitutional power, that he couldn't pardon anyone that he chose, that he couldn't order an investigation. This is the most expansive hysteria I've ever seen in the media, certainly in the left-wing dominated media.
Well, what's ironic is that you wouldn't want this to be obstruction. If this was a crime of obstruction, an array of people, a huge number of people could be charged every day for obstruction if this was the standard. Right. This is at an investigation stage, and I can tell you as a criminal defense attorney, clients make stupid comments all the time. They mishandle evidence. They do things that cross the line, but they're not charged as obstruction. So I think that what you have here is a bit of a hope and a prayer for people. You know, you have almost this mantra: are we there yet? Are we there yet? Do we have a crime yet? And we're not even close to that.
It's that they have nothing else, so they wish to subvert a presidency, is what it seems to me. I want to turn to, here we are. We've seen all that Comey has to offer, and why don't we ask for Robert Mueller to go home now? The special counsel is no longer necessary. I mean, there's nothing to investigate. There's been no crime. There is not a scintilla of evidence, as stated by intelligence chiefs and others, not a scintilla of evidence that Trump in any way colluded with Russians in any way, and that certainly he did not commit any kind of obstruction of justice or some other nefarious deed worthy of note. I mean, why aren't we just saying, aren't there adults available who can stand up and say, all right, children, this is it. We have important work to do in this nation, and we've elected you to do it. Now, on with you. On with you.
Well, you know, Lou, my view is that I actually did not think we should have a special counsel until Comey was terminated. And then a majority of citizens indicated that they had serious concerns about the propriety of the termination, these allegations.
Sure.
I think it's good for the country to resolve this. I don't happen to see the crime. I think this president has made mistakes. I think these are ill-advised comments if they were made. I think that firing Comey
but by the way, it's a free country, and even the president can make ill-advised comments. And by the way, everybody can pucker who wants to, because he's not politically correct. But again, this is America. He can say what he wishes.
Well, but these are self-inflicted wounds as well. But I agree with you.
I didn't say it wouldn't have consequences. I just said it's a free country.
Well, it is true. The criminal code is not a book of etiquette. It's not there to take care of people who say inappropriate things. At the end of the day, this is still an investigation in search of a crime. I don't see the crime here. You know, what Michael Flynn is accused of at most would be a violation of the Registration Act for foreign agents. That's almost never prosecuted, and if it is prosecuted, it's a minor matter.
The best I can say about some sort of a breach here is that General Flynn committed bad judgment. And if that were a crime worthy of prosecution, a lot of folks would be in our jails.